The shattering DR. Elena Vasquez pressed her palm against the cool metal wall of Research Station Prometheus and felt the gentle vibration of the fusion reactor 3 levels below. For 18 months, this had been humanity's farthest outpost. A gleaming symbol of their expansion into the cosmos. The station orbited a binary star system in the Kepler sector, where her team of xenobiologists, engineers, and explorers studied the mysteries of deep space. Another successful day cataloging alien microorganisms, her assistant Marcus Chen said, entering the lab with a tired smile. Though I'm starting to think we'll never find anything more exciting than space algae out here. Elena laughed, her dark eyes sparkling with the curiosity that had driven her to become humanity's leading expert on extraterrestrial life. Patience, Marcus. The universe doesn't reveal its secrets quickly. Besides, our HFY allies promised to share data from their deep surveys next month. The HFY had been humanity's first contact with intelligent alien life 2 years ago. Tall, graceful beings with crystalline skin that shimmered like opal, they possessed technology centuries ahead of human capabilities. Their offer of friendship and knowledge sharing had seemed like a gift from the stars themselves. Marcus nodded, though something in his expression seemed troubled. Elena, have you noticed anything strange about the HFY lately? Their communications have been different. Before Elena could respond, the station's emergency alarm began wailing. Red lights flashed throughout the laboratory as the automated voice announced, all personnel to emergency stations. Incoming vessels detected. Classification unknown. Elena and Marcus rushed to the command center, where Captain James Morrison stood before the main display screen. His weathered face was grim as he watched dozens of ships approaching the station. The vessels were sleek and silver, their design unmistakably HFY. Captain, are we expecting a delegation? Elena asked, though a cold feeling was growing in her stomach. Morrison shook his head. No scheduled visits. And Elena? He pointed to the tactical display. Those ships are armed for war. The lead HFY vessel opened a communication channel. The alien commander's voice was cold and mechanical as it spoke through the universal translator. Human Research Station, you have 30 seconds to evacuate all personnel. Your presence in this sector is no longer permitted. Elena stepped forward. This is Dr. Elena Vasquez. We are conducting peaceful research under the agreement between our species. What's the meaning of this? The agreement is terminated. Humanity's expansion ends now. You have 20 seconds. Morrison grabbed Elena's arm. We need to evacuate immediately. Get to the escape pods. Chaos erupted throughout the station. Scientists and engineers ran through corridors, grabbing essential equipment and research data. Elena clutched a data drive containing 3 years of xenobiology research as Marcus helped her toward the nearest escape pod bay. The first energy blast hit the station's outer ring, sending shockwaves through the structure. The lights flickered. An emergency power kicked in. Through the observation windows, Elena could see more HFY ships emerging from hyperspace, their weapons charging with ominous blue light. Why are they doing this? Marcus shouted over the alarms. Elena had no answer. The betrayal cut deep, not just because of broken trust, but because it made no sense. Humanity posed no threat to the HFY. Their technology was primitive in comparison, their territory insignificant. The escape pods launched just as the station's main reactor went critical. Elena watched through the small porthole as Prometheus, humanity's pride and symbol of their future among the stars, exploded in a brilliant flash of white light. But the nightmare was only beginning. Over the next 72 hours, the scope of the HFY betrayal became clear. Every human colony, every research station, every mining operation beyond the Sol system was attacked without warning. The assault was coordinated, methodical, and devastating. Millions of humans were forced to flee their homes, abandoning everything they had built among the stars. Elena's escape pod, carrying 12 survivors from Prometheus, drifted through space for 6 days before being picked up by a damaged human transport ship called the New Dawn. Captain Sarah Torres, a former military officer turned colony ship commander, had managed to rescue nearly 300 people from various destroyed outposts. The HFY hit us everywhere at once, Torres explained as the survivors gathered in the transport's cargo hold. Earth's still safe behind our defensive grid, but everything else is gone. We are refugees in our own galaxy. Dr. Harrison Blake, an elderly physicist who had escaped from the Titan research facility, stood up with shaking hands. But why? Our trade agreements, our scientific exchanges, the friendship treaties, none of it makes sense. Torres's expression was hard. Maybe friendship was never their goal. Maybe they were just studying us, learning our weaknesses. Elena listened to the discussions and arguments that followed, but her mind was elsewhere. She kept thinking about the Kethvar commander's words, humanity's expansion ends now. Not humanity itself, but their expansion. As if they were being contained rather than destroyed, the New Dawn and its refugee fleet spent weeks hiding in the outer system of an uncharted star. They rationed food and water while debating their next move. Some wanted to return to Earth, to safety behind humanity's home defenses. Others spoke of finding empty worlds where they could rebuild in secret. It was during one of these discussions that young Marcus made a discovery that would change everything. Elena, you need to see this, he called from the transport's small laboratory. I was analyzing the mineral samples we grabbed from Prometheus, and I found something impossible. Elena joined him at the analysis station, where strange crystalline fragments were suspended in a containment field. The crystals pulsed with soft, rhythmic light, unlike anything in human databases. These weren't in our samples before the attack, Marcus explained. The energy from the station's destruction somehow activated them. And Elena, they are responding to human neural patterns. Elena stared at the crystals, her scientific mind racing. How is that possible? I don't know, but watch this. Marcus placed his hand near the containment field. The crystals immediately brightened, their pulsing synchronized with his heartbeat. It's like they are trying to communicate. Word of the discovery spread quickly through the refugee fleet. Dr. Blake confirmed that similar crystalline formations had been found in the wreckage of other destroyed human installations. Whatever these crystals were, they seemed to be activated by the specific combination of human technology and the energy released during the Kethvar attacks. Elena worked tirelessly to understand the crystals' properties. With limited equipment, progress was slow, but patterns began to emerge. The crystals weren't just responding to human presence, they were learning from it. Each interaction made them more responsive, more complex in their behavior. It's almost like they're alive, she told Captain Torres during one of their daily briefings. But not biological life as we understand it. Something else. Torres studied the data Elena had compiled. Could they be weapons? Something the Kethvar left behind? I don't think so. The energy signatures are older, much older than Kethvar technology. I think these crystals were already here, in the asteroid fields and planetary rings where we built our stations. The destruction somehow woke them up. As weeks passed, more refugee ships found their way to the hidden fleet. Each brought stories of loss and betrayal, but also something else, more discoveries of the strange crystals. Human survivors across the galaxy were finding them in the ruins of their former homes, and everywhere the story was the same. The crystals responded to humans in ways that defied understanding. Elena began to see a pattern. The crystals weren't random. They appeared most strongly at sites where humans had lived and worked for extended periods, as if they had been somehow imprinted by human presence. The destroyed research stations, the mining colonies, the frontier settlements, all had become sources of this mysterious technology. One night, as Elena worked alone in the laboratory, something extraordinary happened. She was holding one of the larger crystal fragments, trying to understand its internal structure, when suddenly her mind filled with images. Not her own memories, but something else, vast networks of knowledge, interconnected systems of thought and energy that spanned entire star systems. The vision lasted only seconds, but it left Elena shaking with wonder and fear. The crystals weren't just technology, they were part of something ancient and powerful that had been dormant among the stars. Human expansion had unknowingly activated sites across the galaxy, creating a network that the Kethvar attacks had brought to full awakening. Elena called Captain Torres and Dr. Blake to the laboratory. With trembling hands, she shared her discovery. The Kethvar didn't just attack us randomly, she explained. They were trying to prevent something. the expansion of human consciousness into this ancient network. By destroying our installations, they didn't stop it, they triggered it. Torres frowned, trying to understand. You're saying the attacks made us stronger somehow? Not just stronger. Different. The crystals are changing us, connecting us to something that spans the galaxy. Every refugee group that's found these crystals is becoming part of a larger whole. Dr. Blake's eyes widened with understanding. A collective consciousness. But we are still individuals. Yes, but individuals who can share thoughts, knowledge, even skills across vast distances. The HFY tried to shatter humanity's expansion, but instead they forged us into something they never expected, a truly unified species with capabilities they can't comprehend. As if responding to Elena's words, the crystals in the laboratory began to pulse brighter. Similar reactions were reported throughout the fleet as other crystal discoveries synchronized with theirs. Across the galaxy, scattered groups of human survivors felt the same moment of connection, the same realization. That they were no longer alone, the HFY had tried to end humanity's journey to the stars. Instead, they had created something far more dangerous to their established order, a human species that had been forged by adversity into unity, powered by ancient technology they barely understood, and driven by a determination to reclaim their place in the cosmos. Elena looked out through the laboratory's small viewport at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, the HFY believed they had won. They were about to discover how wrong they were. The awakening 3 months after the Great Scattering, the galaxy was no longer the same. Hidden in asteroid fields, abandoned systems, and the dark spaces between stars, human survivors had done more than simply endure, they had evolved. Commander Lisa Park crouched in the shadows of a derelict space station, her enhanced sensors picking up the faint vibrations of HFY patrol ships in the distance. The crystalline implant at the base of her skull pulsed softly, connecting her to the vast network of human survivors scattered across the galaxy. Through this connection, she could feel the presence of her team members positioned throughout the station, their thoughts and intentions as clear as if they were speaking aloud. The transformation hadn't been immediate. In the early weeks after the attacks, humans had struggled to understand the strange crystals they found in the ruins of their former homes. But as desperation drove them to experiment, they discovered that the crystalline technology responded to human neural patterns in ways that bordered on miraculous. Lisa's team was preparing to strike a HFY supply depot, one of dozens of similar operations happening simultaneously across the galaxy. The coordination required would have been impossible for the scattered, technologically inferior humans of just months ago. But they were no longer the same species the HFY had tried to destroy. Target acquired, whispered Jake Morrison, her second-in-command, his thoughts reaching her through the crystal network. Lisa could see through his eyes as he positioned himself near the depot's main power coupling. 50 meters away, Dr. Amy Chen used her enhanced analytical abilities to map the station's security grid, while engineer Tom Rodriguez worked to disable the outer defensive systems. The crystal network didn't just allow communication, it enabled the sharing of skills and knowledge in real time. Lisa, originally a colony administrator, could now access Jake's military training, Amy's scientific expertise, and Tom's engineering knowledge as if they were her own memories. Beginning Phase 1, Lisa communicated to the network. Instantly, every member of her 20-person team knew exactly what to do. The attack was swift and precise. HFY guards fell to weapons they couldn't detect, fired by humans who seemed to anticipate their every move. Security systems failed as if they had been designed by the very people who were defeating them. In less than 10 minutes, the supply depot was under human control, but this wasn't just about supplies. Hidden in the depot's data cores, Lisa's team found something that made the entire operation worthwhile: intelligence about the HFY's true intentions. Dr. Chen processed the alien data with inhuman speed, her consciousness enhanced by the crystal network's processing power. Lisa, you need to see this. The attacks went random, and they weren't meant to wipe us out completely. Through the network, Chen shared her analysis with every human in their sector. The data revealed the HFY's greatest fear, that humanity's rapid expansion and adaptability would eventually challenge their dominance of the galaxy. The attacks had been designed to force humans back to their home system, contained and controllable. They were afraid of us even before the crystals, Lisa realized. our potential, our growth rate, our refusal to accept limitations. But the HFY had made a critical error. Their attempt to contain humanity had instead scattered them across environments that would have killed any other species. Forced to adapt or die, humans had embraced the ancient crystalline technology with a desperation and creativity that surprised even themselves. In the Outer Rim, Captain Elena Vasquez led a group of survivors who had made first contact with the crystal network. Her research had revealed that the crystalline technology was not alien at all, it was far older, a remnant of a previous galactic civilization that had transcended physical existence eons ago. The crystals were dormant seeds of consciousness, waiting for a species with the right combination of adaptability and determination to awaken them. Elena's group had established contact with similar survivor communities across the galaxy. Through the crystal network, scientists shared discoveries instantly, engineers collaborated on projects across light years of space, and military leaders coordinated resistance efforts with perfect precision. The network was growing stronger every day. Each new group of survivors that found and integrated with the crystals added their knowledge and capabilities to the collective. Humans were becoming something unprecedented, a species that maintained individuality while sharing consciousness, that could adapt to any environment while remaining essentially human. The HFY began to notice the changes when their patrol ships started disappearing. At first, they attributed the losses to equipment failures or accidents. But as the pattern continued, fear began to spread through their command structure. High Commander Zefkai stood in the strategic center of the HFY flagship, studying reports from across their territory. The crystalline formations on his opalescent skin shifted colors as his stress levels increased, a biological response his species couldn't control. The humans should have been contained by now, he said to his tactical advisor. Instead, they appear to be multiplying. The advisor, a younger HFY named Veltar, gestured to the holographic display showing human activity across the galaxy. Sir, our analysis suggests they have developed some form of instantaneous communication. Their coordination levels are impossible for a primitive species. Zefkai's skin flashed deep purple, the color of fear among his kind. Show me the latest intelligence. The display shifted to show footage from destroyed HFY outposts. In each case, human attackers had demonstrated capabilities far beyond their previous technology. They moved with supernatural coordination, anticipated HFY tactics, and used weapons that shouldn't have existed. Sir, Veltar said hesitantly, our xenobiologists believe the humans may have integrated with the ancient technology. The color drained from Zefkai's skin entirely. The ancient technology was a legend, stories told to young HFY about a civilization that had transcended the physical realm billions of years ago. According to the myths, they had left behind seeds of their consciousness, waiting for a worthy species to claim their inheritance. That's impossible, Zefkai whispered. The humans are too primitive, too divided. The ancients would never choose them. But even as he spoke, reports were coming in from across HFY space. Human strike teams were hitting targets with increasing frequency and sophistication. More concerning, they seemed to know things they shouldn't know, HFY military codes, ship designs, even the locations of secret bases. The truth was that the crystal network had grown beyond simple communication. Human consciousness, enhanced by the ancient technology, could now penetrate HFY computer systems, decode their languages in real time, and predict their military strategies with uncanny accuracy. Lisa Park's team had moved on from simple raids to major strategic operations. Using intelligence gathered through the network, they identified a critical HFY command center and began planning its capture. The beautiful irony, Elena Vasquez commented through the network as she coordinated with Lisa's team from halfway across the galaxy, is that they created exactly what they feared most. By scattering us, they forced us to become truly unified. By trying to limit our growth, they accelerated our evolution. The final phase of the human resurgence began when Dr. Chen made a breakthrough in understanding the crystal technology. By carefully modulating the network's frequency, she discovered they could not only communicate across space but also across time, accessing the memories and knowledge of the ancient civilization that had created the crystals. The revelation was staggering. The ancients had been waiting eons for a species with the right combination of curiosity, adaptability, and courage to claim their legacy. They had tested countless civilizations, but all had either lacked the imagination to fully utilize the technology or had been corrupted by its power. Humanity was different. Their natural tendency toward cooperation, combined with their fierce independence, created the perfect balance. They could share consciousness without losing individuality, could access unlimited power without being consumed by it. News of the discovery spread through the human network. The effect was immediate. The crystals throughout the galaxy resonated with new energy, and human capabilities expanded exponentially. They could now manipulate matter at the molecular level, travel between star systems through quantum tunneling, and process information at speeds that made HFY computers seem primitive. High Commander Zefkai received the final report with hands that trembled like leaves in a stellar wind. Human forces had simultaneously struck 12 major HFY installations, capturing them with minimal casualties. But worse than the military defeats was the message they had left behind. It was a simple communication, broadcast on all HFY frequencies: "We forgive you for what you tried to do to us. We understand that fear drove your actions. But the galaxy is large enough for all of us. We propose a new beginning, not as enemies, but as neighbors who respect each other's right to exist and grow." The message was signed by Elena Vasquez on behalf of what they now called the Human Collective, a unified but democratic civilization that spanned the galaxy. Zefkai stared at the message for long minutes, his skin cycling through colors of confusion, fear, and finally hope. The humans could have destroyed the HFY civilization completely. Their new capabilities made them effectively unstoppable. Instead, they offered peace. Perhaps, he thought, the ancients had chosen wisely after all. Elena stood on the bridge of humanity's first post-scattering starship, a vessel that seamlessly blended human engineering with ancient technology. Through the crystal network, she could feel the presence of millions of her fellow humans, each one unique yet connected, each one contributing to a whole greater than the sum of its parts. The HFY had tried to end humanity's expansion into the stars. Instead, they had forged a species that would eventually become the galaxy's greatest force for unity, exploration, and hope. The stars stretched out before them, no longer a frontier to be conquered but a garden to be tended. And for the first time since the Great Scattering, Elena allowed herself to smile. Humanity had not just survived, they had become exactly what the universe needed them to be. The Forge of Stars had done its work.